Chris Matthews, Ron Fournier yesterday talked about how all the races in Michigan are tightening up. We know that New Hampshire is tightening up. Georgia, a toss-up. The Pennsylvania Senate race, a toss-up. The Wisconsin Senate race, Marquette poll had Ron Johnson up 6 points. The latest polls show it's within the margin of error, almost dead even. Ohio's Senate race, dead even. I could keep going, but there are so many close, tight races right now. What do you think swings it over the last 2 weeks? I know people are coming home, but when they go to this voting booth, is it going to be like, I don't know, is it going to be like 1980, where you saw in the Carter administration things breaking against Republicans, or is it going to be... Or is it going to be like 1998, where Republicans were supposed to have a massive pro-impeachment win, and instead it was Newt Gingrich who was escorted out of town a week later? Which way do you think it's going to break?
Well, I think the closer it gets to home, in other words, to Election Day, the more people worry about their home. They worry about providing for their families, men and women both. They're going to talk about the inflation issue. And it's going to be food prices 11%. And the gas prices basically still up to where they were before. It's a big chunk of your income. It's not just how much it costs to pay for gas when you stop at the pump. It's what percentage of your income goes into that, like a big taxation program. It's real. And I do think that gets closer to home as you get to Election Day. I think the abortion issue probably hit the clock a little too early in the early part of the summer, and it's faded a bit. But I do think it's going to be jobs and economics and the threat of a recession. And it's who's in power. You mentioned Jimmy Carter. He took all the heat for inflation. There was no blame to go to Ronald Reagan. He was just a challenger. It's a good time to be a challenger. I want to say something about these election deniers all around the place, including Dr. Oz. The fact of the matter is these people believe in elections. Damn it, they know the votes count. They're out there scrambling for every vote they can buy or solicit or whatever. They know these elections are honest in this country. We have honest elections in America, damn it. And they're admitting it in the way they're campaigning. And the great thing about our democracy, it's real. Even a governor as good as Whitmer, and she's great. These people have to go out and defend their jobs. Even in New York State, the governor's got to defend herself. Everybody has to, in most cases, has to defend themselves. Grassley has to fight for his life at 87 or whatever he is. It's a real democracy. It's vibrant. It's really working. We should be proud of that. And the election deniers should shut up, because that's the problem. Their voices.
Yeah, you know, that's what's so offensive is we've got more people voting than ever before. It's safer than ever before.
Yeah.
The guy who was in charge of Donald Trump in the Trump administration was in charge of monitoring the election, said it was the safest, most secure election ever. I went out, Claire, did early voting a couple of days ago, showed them my driver's license. They double checked my signature. They did all of these things, all of these safeguards, and they were so good and so complete that as I was walking around, I just turned around and I thanked all of them for what they were doing for democracy. It's such a secure system, and it is so deeply offensive that these people, these election deniers, all because a failed game show host who lost the White House, the House, and the Senate, is telling them to undermine American democracy because they lost one election. How repulsive, how deeply offensive is that?
It's about as bad as you can get. I mean, basically what Trump has stood for is a very simple proposition. If I win, I win. If I lose, you cheated. And that is not what we teach our children. And that's not the right way to live your life. And I got to tell you, Joe, I am deeply offended at the notion that there are people in tactical gear with long guns and masks and bulletproof vests sitting, watching people cast their ballots. I mean, what are they doing? That clearly is an effort to somehow intimidate people from showing up and doing a very safe way of voting. I mean, they've been doing it this way in Arizona for years. They've had mail-in ballots and drop boxes. And drop boxes, everybody thinks this, stupid thing about mules, it's such a lie. Every vote that goes in a drop box has to be verified. Every single one, with matching signatures and so forth. So it is really sad to me that these nuts are sitting out there with their guns and their masks and their bullets and their bulletproof vests, acting as if somehow they're protecting democracy when they are embarrassing democracy.
Well, I mean, and think about this, Willie, that Donald Trump, when he was running, said the American dream is dead. Then Donald Trump's president for 4 years, and suddenly everything's okay with America. Now Donald Trump is out of office because he does what Donald Trump does politically. He loses for himself and his party. And suddenly all he does is go around tearing down America, talking about how bad America is. You have Republicans attacking the United States military, calling the strongest military force in the history of this planet, calling them weak and woke because they would rather attack the men and women of the United States Armed Forces than actually admit that they're extraordinary, that they do extraordinary work every day. Constant attacks, whether it's the military or whether it's American democracy, whether it's voting. Like I said, you have people from the Peter Thiel School that are saying, let's just seize institutions that disagree with us. So J.D. Vance believes that. Masters believes that. And again, it's all because they lost one election. That is what's so absolutely their love of America is contingent on their side winning. Their acceptance of Madisonian democracy is contingent on their side winning. I can't imagine hating America that much. I really can't. I can't imagine hating America so much that you want to end American democracy. You want to end the American experiment. You want to end Madisonian democracy because your side lost one time. History will not be kind to them.
And they've moved on to institutions like the FBI, Joe. We just had Senator Hassan on from New Hampshire. Her opponent running up there has said he would be interested or at least open to abolishing the FBI. Why? Because the FBI executed a legal search warrant at Mar-a-Lago because the former president of the United States stole documents from the White House and put him in the basement of his club and home in Florida. So abolish the FBI because of that.